of Memorandum of Understanding with VASS software and solution provided. For to LMC and office managed transfer. Distinguished friends from Dr. Muthu sir, the beloved HOD Dr. VRR Hall, to get some father, with Ramesh Abraham, Director DLF India and South Asia India Private Limited, Mr. Amar Bhagat, a Technical Delivery Manager, India South Asia, Mr. Ranjit Sen Gupta, Director and CEO, Vectras Technosoft Private Limited, Chennai, and Mr. P.T. Venkatesh, Managing Director, VASS Software and Solutions Private Limited. Now I request everyone to rise up to the common Bible.
அத்திரத வாசனி போரனை துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ்மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனகே தமிழனகே உன் சீரிடமை திரும்பியிருந்து செயல்பகலுக்கு வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே.
I kindly request our department head, somebody that I'm not. Very important to all of you. I welcome you all for the meetings in the office. And one of my colleagues and finally, with the rest and we can talk about this graduating courses from source of CSE Red Hat. And from English, more than 200 students we have got certifications and these certifications in which degrees were valued to their profiles. And for this database resolution, we have the best of partner, Mr. Ramesh Abraham. He is Director, VASS, India and South Asia, Red Hat India Private Limited. We welcome Computer Science Engineering, Sai Ram Engineering College, and because of this Thank you very much. Okay, I'm sorry. In honor of CIO and principal. I kindly please, sir.
Morning. Distinguished students from Red Hat, Sri. Sri. Sri Ranjit Sendurta, CEO, Economic Sri Thinking Software and Solutions Limited. Yes, from Red Hat. Most respected and esteemed Chief Information Officer, Mr. Narendra. HOD CSE team, skill development. Very good. It's a good honor to association with them for this. And ceremony of signing of the with us. Ceremony is going to be part of the students' community. We are really proud of infusions are industry support ecosystem established in our campus and guidance of guidance support for chairman and CEO. And ecosystem research culture among the community. We are able to deliver outcomes, significant farming outcomes in the global charity competitions. We are happy to come to the shortlisted proposals and Indian Principal of Education, Minister of Education, Small India Hackathon Program. Since one of the first things we and the efforts taken by the students community as well as the faculty members, research scholars, and competing with the premier institutions in the world for many innovative competitions. Like Defense Innovation Startup Challenge Contest. It's about the premier startup challenge contest given by Minister of Defense Innovation Organization. So under which around 38 problem statements submitted. Till now the results are coming out. Till now 7 teams have been certified. It's the highest number in South India. The institutions they got participation community, faculty, and for the individual efforts that they are able to achieve so many actions and they are able to conceptual skill. Now we are able to how the concept is very well. The simplest way in the total person is just to the lesser class. This is establish this industry and certificate programs and the partners of support this in establishing a field professional or field development of the industry. Thank you very much, sir, for the presentation. Very good morning, all of you. Welcome to Singapore and what's happening in the IT industry. You want to know what's happening in the IT industry. The right person to listen is okay. And second person is there is my lead favorite person is Abdullah. Abdullah is I will one of the best presenter, technical presenter ever. See, although I am having so many technical presentations, you are going to see the technical skill and technical presentation in the simplest form and simplest way. And one friend and managing director of VASS software, he in the space of healthcare today, the industry doing the operation of healthcare. Data science, okay, and I don't know the time for me, so maybe he also shares some knowledge about data science, and we are kind of beginning to share the knowledge how to understand data mining, how to understand data science, and how to take care of healthcare industry, which is the most growing industry. And Chennai is actually called the capital of healthcare, as far as India is concerned. So, right now, I am and very good friend of mine, so with this, I welcome Mr. Ramesh. I will take more time, so we'll take it from your delivery and let us listen to Mr. Ramesh. Thank you very much.
The committee recognized management he is an electronic and communication engineer. He has been interactive on the basis of management practices. He was awarded nationally the Red Hat National Business Manager, he is committed to the which is embedded information to Indian next, we have exchange and software and I request all the meetings to join. Can anyone mention numbers? No, sir.
Good morning, everyone. A very special day. It is, I take an opportunity to for not having this continuous concentration with we have been through a long journey and there are a lot of success stories which has collaborated. I'd like to Mr. Ravish, welcome. So, the MOU because there will be an effective consideration when we distribute you for the course of opportunities for the students. There is a lot of difference. Definitely, this consideration would be more effective for the student than itself. So, to the students, I'm very happy to meet you all. So it's really also you've seen so much changes and so many opportunities which has been no opening the institution and something like the one about the defense challenges in the opportunity to some students are participating out of these teams. The one of the first times in India. And if I can, I think more than 5 teams for defense. So how is this actually? First, I like to thank the mentions the team. When the process is set, definitely the outputs are so we have this innovation ecosystem inside this campus. I think this batches would be we have made a certain innovation. We have Sai Ram and Engineering. So we are working from the scratch, even our discussion also regarding this way. We are going to two states from the industries, but we can work on that. So generally, it has become a practice to do the last year project in the coming year, and will be deciding the title of the project. Now, what we have done is from the first year, student will be taking a real which he is passionate about the solve. 4 years. And 3 or 4 years, the output is coming in this way, like in the hackathons and in this challenges. So, which I like to thank our chairman for giving a huge opportunity for developing this ecosystem and a lot of infrastructure which has been given to you. We are developing around 20,000 square feet of an incubation center for this autonomous batch. So that is going to be 3D printing, that is going to be a defense lab, that is going to be how many of you know about Silai.com? So he's an American 3D printing company. They are hiring 3D modeling students who are good artists. So we are going to do very specific and passionate job opportunities for these qualifications. That is a very special school coming. They are looking forward for more industry specific solution. And because the third also is software based mechanism would be that to linking so I like to take this opportunity to become a challenge or gain the opportunity. And I'm happy to announce that there are going to be like industry standard operating office inside your campus. Even you can register and get your company incubation center. Because nowadays the hiring is so receiving partners today. To other students and Institute of Technology, the very best company state is also given to them. So because they have a very good product and they are completed their 4 years of engineering. So I request everyone to interact with these kind of students and all these success stories to start the incubation center. So come interact with us, the industry required and we need the best things out. And as a request for many students, so please, if you are individual expert in any area which is not known in the classroom, please make a note of that to your mentors. So we can for any kind of projects or anything. So thank you for this opportunity and look forward for a technical collaboration.
Thank you, sir. Correct background, the advanced level in business services. He started his career as a minister. Moving as a faculty, senior fellow, and head, central head, information sectors, First, never say no, I will which also dressing some pictures. He believes in doing basics well, standard, and well excellence in all of us. And that was Mr. English of Management, well guided. Please, sir, I also request our dignitaries to take charge of our works.
Respected principal, respected HOD, the CI sir,
my friend Ranjit Gupta, my colleagues Amal, Gio, all the faculty members, and my new friend Mr. Venkatesh, and all my students. So I know everybody are having attention. There's a first reason why I put everybody in front. I want everybody's attention here. Okay? So I believe you have seen some energy-based cricket match last Sunday. India versus Pakistan. I'm sure everybody will have seen. Till the last over. Yes or no? No, I don't think so. You have seen it. Because if I would have been in your question, yes. So we need energy. So let's begin with. Please build our energy. So I think it's most important in the industry if you want to get to an IT job, if you have to recruit, if somebody is loans and he may be fantastic in his code, he may be very good technically, but I'm sorry, I don't want them. If somebody who is really energetic, really active, because you are going to work 6 to 8 times, you're working for more than that in the industry. So from today, or from your engineering days, the organization, the company is building you to prepare you with extra technical activities. So, first of all, I want to thank Sai Ram Engineering College on your behalf. Because when I did my engineering, about 1990, maybe some of you were not even born. 1990 till 1994. Sure, you are not born. I remember 92 and above, right? 2000. So you are so young, energetic. To find that energy in you. I'm really sorry to say this because you should have a lot of energy. Especially in the morning, right? So let's begin on sleep. Come on, the table. See, there is some transfer. Not for you. So I have some questions. If you are ready to answer, you will give cap to you. That's the idea. Okay? And I have a foreign speaker. I'm also going to talk about the same. Okay? You are all energized, you are all laughing. That's what you're thinking, is it funny? No, that's not right. Our company name is Red Hat. So we're giving you some hats which are black in color, not red. Okay? Yeah. So you should be very happy and thankful for the organization like Sai Ram Institute or Sai Ram Engineering College. The reason is because when we did our engineering, we didn't have these facilities. Today I have a CIO, a CEO, principal, actually who's talking about technology. In our engineering, we used to only talk about the subject. But lecturers used to talk about subjects and that's it. We're talking about industry experience. Oh my God, I'm really excited. You are blessed. You are in one of the best era of your life. Look at this facility. So many I heard from some of the team members sitting with the principal and she's a doctor, I suppose. She's also one of the faculty. She told, sir, I'm having many interns, I'm having so many things. They are asking for 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, 2 months. That means it's full of energy, your organization is full of energy. And then you got one more day coming with one more. That means organization is really helping you. Who are one of the most threat. During our year, we never had this. Honestly, I'm touching my heart and telling you, we never had this. So, not only I'm talking about every institute, especially the CIO is talking the language of having a marathon when the civil people is still talking. Nice. You are very good with hardware. Can you bring software specialist once in a month to our institute? Because I want problem statement. Oh, that's really wonderful. Today, solution architects in our company are talking about problem statements. Who are 10 years experience, 20 years experience, with level 0, if you are organization working to get. Wow. I really want to have a good management. So in this context, so I'm Red Hat. I work for Red Hat. That's what the introduction might. Some of the girls did it here. So from Red Hat, on behalf of Red Hat, I want to invite you for the training and certification. Of course, Sarah showed there are so many other associations so many other things. But yes, there is a lot of ability in Red Hat also, market demand versus market need. There's a lot of gap, there's a lot of difference. Okay, today Red Hat is very happy to say that we are building about 20,000 certifications in a year. But do you know what's the market demand? It's more than 2.5 lakhs. 2.5 lakhs. Certified resources are required. So that's where the demand versus supply. So when I was doing engineering, so I went down a written test when I was in final year. I got a chance to write a written test in Kirloskar. You heard about a company called Kirloskar in Chennai? I went there to write a written test. I was very excited. By the final year engineer, I get a job in Kirloskar. By the mechanical engineer, for your information. I am not a computer science or IT information technology engineer. I am a mechanical engineer. So I went to write the exam in the Kirloskar. Till the time I went there, I was preparing for aptitude tests, English communication tests, mathematics, and things like that. But after I went there, I was disappointed very badly. You know why? 500 opportunities, 500 placement opportunities as trainees, where the salary is 2,500. I'm not disappointed about the salary. 2,500 was okay in 1994. 500 openings. But why I was disappointed is 5 million people afterwards. People across Karnataka. So I was sure. Oh, out of 5 years, can I be one of those 500? No, I cannot. But today, I think system my job is really good. And we are already some of the students of the they already paid. They're not completed the engineering. They already paid. So that is the time. And some of the students will have 2 opportunities in their hand, 3 opportunities in their hand. You think you might have also. You might have heard some of the seniors saying that I have a job opportunity from TCS, Infosys, as well as one more company. Which one I have to join? I'm not sure. So that is the situation. That is the world. That is where we are having this industry moving. This is a blessed era. This is a blessed generation. You have to capitalize on that. So for that to capitalize, okay, let me take one example. One simple example. Last year, in the month of March, this is a live example. This happened really. I went to one of the institute along with Mr. Ranjit Sen. He is my partner. So I went along with him. We printed a brochure. That college, I'm not naming the college. From that college, 2 students got placement in Red Hat. In Red Hat, very proud moment, right? So we took the photos, printed on the brochure. We went and met the chairman. Chairman is very difficult to get catch hold of her because she's very busy. So we somehow made some time, went and presented this brochure and told her, ma'am, 2 students, these 2 photographs, your college students, ma'am. We are very happy to say that they are working in Red Hat. Wow, madam was very happy. Then immediately there was a training question answer. She called me. Hello, send in 1 million. How many people certified last year? She asked the question. We told her, madam, 90 people certified, 90. Then she laughed at me. What, Ramesh? You are coming with a brochure. Two people placed Red Hat. So 90 people certified. For 1 second, madam. Something, sir? You give me. Well, sir, I give only 2. Why, sir? No, madam. Actually, by the time Red Hat came for placement, already all the students, 88 students are already placed with 3 provinces, US, I'm 100% placement. This is the demand. So when you get Red Hat certificate, you want to look for a placement in Red Hat. Many times you may get a better job outside Red Hat because the technology is on. When you talk about Red Hat Certified System Administrator, that's the name. RSCSE. We are going to felicitate few students today on the stage who are already certified. You can check with them. If they are in the final year, they would have already attended. There is a learning community. If you post your profile in learning community stating that I'm doing my engineering, people are there to grab you within no time. That is the demand. You go to any industry, start you may say, sir, I'm not interested in work in IT industry. Some of them may have the affiliation because they may have to work in the late checks and things like that. Sir, every industry today, starting from even the Tamil Nadu Electricity Board runs on Red Hat Linux platform. Any aeroplane, aviation system runs on Red Hat. The normal GPS system tracking runs on Red Hat. You look at pharmaceutical company, how many tablets has to be manufactured to be distributed amongst which cities or which area, which medical shops, everything is tracked. Of course, there is machine learning, there is artificial intelligence, but these two technologies run on the platform of Red Hat Linux and OpenShift. Any cloud technology. You know, Microsoft yes, they are very good. Microsoft's cloud server is Red Hat Linux. AWS cloud server is Red Hat Linux. How the cloud server is Red Hat Linux? So Red Hat Linux is Red Hat. Yes, you please. So, what is the importance of Red Hat certification? Why Red Hat certification is so important? I think. I'm meeting you now, but I think I'll take a couple of minutes. It's very important. So, why is Red Hat certification important? We have certain certifications. Every certificate will not because it's here already. Okay, somebody's staring at me. Okay, let me ask you some question. Okay, Red Linux is a desktop version, enterprise version. Red Linux is an enterprise version or a desktop version. Okay, let me see some girls can lift their hands. Anybody knows the answer? Okay, you go. Some on the stage. Oh, okay, thank you, sir. Spend time if somebody wants to. Okay, so I think you will get a job in Red Hat. So, sorry? Nothing. You will get a job in Red Hat because I think you are going to Okay. That's a very problem that is running on you. I think what the very important. Thank you. Please. Definitely, we are creating. There's something is better than nothing. You don't find any good thing. So now, next question. What is open source? Sure. Please go ahead.
Anyone is free to edit it.
Sorry.
Anyone is free to edit the source.
Anything is free to edit the source. It's called open source. Fantastic. Okay. What else?
Each source code is kept separate, but it can be different source can be there.
Fantastic. Very good. Commercial.
Example, Microsoft it was derived from Linux.
Okay. No, I tell me the benefits commercially. Yeah, somebody said that. Who's that? Yeah, it is free. This is free. So, so let him only this is which I will come back to my opinions. Consider what is the importance of data science. Today, in the market, there are so many open market international certifications available. And what is the what is very quickly. What is the reason? This is very important to understand. So most letting the main all the exams of MCQ, you understand MCQ? Multiple choice questions. My name is Anish Madhavan. Accenture is giving me an offer. You have a job. So, Accenture is hiring for great answer. What is the job? One data center. So, questions. Can you please answer that? I will clarify you. First question. Can you tell me how many these four which step will one step? Do you know this one step? Select answer. Something like this. So sorry, I don't know. So something like that. So I know one more step. Second question. So second question. So now I passed the exam. That question I'm going within 60 minutes. I got 96 score. I go to Accenture company. Now, what is my job? Breakdance. Morning, data center. Afternoon, evening. Correct. Will I be able to do breakdance then if they ask me to do? I don't have breakdance capacity, but I know the answers. Like this, all the exams in the market today are MCQ based. Like, what is the difference? You can ask this question. Let me exam. Okay, instead of going for I'm asking that example. So just do simple form. Written exams are performance-based exams. They are competency. Sorry for you. Sorry, my dear friend. So, written exams are not great exam. Just what you want. First, can be copied most step for membership, you are asking 10%. So that means our exams are not easy unless you don't leave your hands. You have to work with the system. Basic exams will be on creating the user and on assigning the parameter from communication when there is an error and this is not a 16 minutes exam, it's a 3 to 4 hours exam. We want to find and work. So now you tell me, where knows regular conduct exams? So so those people, because they know these people don't know that we know how to work on it. Give them the difference. So that is why you cannot find a next resource. Of course, under people are still completing their engineering. Once they complete the engineering placement, they are not getting a few months. Sorry, you can help me with that. To that level, I can promise that a certified resource was really important. They should have some basic minimum qualities of talking, good English, expect you to make it. So when you go to a movie, if you go to a movie which is only people like football, very few. Also, we have cricket loving country, that's why. Okay, let's assume we are having a premium World Cup match between Argentina and Italy. Wow, 20 minutes plus 45 minutes. 90 minutes is going to a really completely just jump and enjoy. Because every moment the ball goes here and here. Wow, that's really amazing. Whether it is the excitement is there. That is how we work in our organization. Every day out and day in, we are having all of you to be energetic. Please cultivate if you are not. From today, please cultivate. If you are more energetic, you will be able to really do wonders in your life. Today, if you ask me, where do you like us? You say no. I said once or twice when I bathroom, I squeeze my ear. So many questions. I'm not asking you to do that. But be active, be energetic. So with that, I want to one session. Thank you so much for given the opportunity.
For your valuable words. Have a 10-minute tea break. Because one of students will remember. Source technologies. It was a open source with a during technical issues. Failure of IT by educated the country. We started studying on open source technology and each was back and forth. The sharing technology with people. In the industry, he has been consultant, instructor, and currently serving as technical training manager, training certification in India and Asia. He is a graduate engineer, instructor, examiner. He is also one stop certified professional. Now, I request the chairman of this assembly. Please, sir.
Guys, can you hear me? Okay, so it's not easy to satisfy a college going student, especially when a power packs session has already been delivered by Ramesh. When you come to when you sit inside a classroom, how long is the period? 0.0? Okay. So the good news is that I will take 15 minutes. I may take 20 minutes. I've set my time up here. Let me just try to finish stuff in 20 minutes. So as I'm listening towards that corner, gentlemen. Hello, can you wave at me? Can you wave at me? Can you show this to me? Yeah, thank you. Thanks. So the average attention span. Hey guys, listen to me, listen to me. Just give me 2 minutes, 2 minutes. So the average attention span of human being listening to somebody is just 2 minutes. Have you ever realized that? And that way, I think you guys are doing a wonderful job listening to your teachers for 50 full minutes. Which semester are you guys in? Which semester? Seventh semester. And all of you guys are doing computer science? Okay, all right. How many of you have heard of Red Hat? Show of hands, please. Okay. So before I get started, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'm very impressed by the kind of infrastructure you have here. You have a corporate class theater style conference room. And I'm thoroughly impressed by what Mr. CEO and Dr. has been talking about, the kind of exposure you have in the campus, the kind of research work you are involved in, the kind of, what is that, four thorns in Solthon, and what is the last one? Inspire thorn. See, I think it's not very easy to get this kind of opportunity, right? When you're for the gentleman towards the end, towards that side. Can you guys just stop talking to each other? Can you just talk to me if you want to tell something? What's the name? Good. You've heard of Red Hat? Oh, good. Okay, so I think so you know what? So you guys have to talk something, talk to the crowd, right? Otherwise, we take 5 minutes. You just listen to what I'm talking about, and then I will give you 1 minute in between to speak to each other. By the way, why do you have to? What is that topic that you speak to each other? What's that? Okay. Guys, right, so, you know what, technical presentations are very boring. I will come back there again. All right, so somebody has mentioned, it was not Badri, it was somebody else who mentioned about the open source software. There was a tall gentleman here. Can you raise your hand? Okay, yeah. What was your name? I forgot. Kamlesh, right. So folks, have you learned the operating system in your semester subject as a semester subject? In which semester was it? Sorry? Fourth. Can anybody define what operating system? Anybody who wants to give it a try, just show up hands and then I will listen to you. Gentlemen back there, please. I will come back to you again. Anyone for operating system? Can you do it? Yeah. Something which acts as the main part of the system, something which controls. You know what? You don't get this gap. The reason is you do not mention what system. What system is it? No. You said main part of the system. What system is it? It's not digestive system. Sure. Computer system, gentlemen. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. And so what is the main purpose of saying? Can you just take that a step ahead and give me a few examples of an operating system? Can you? Examples? Ubuntu, okay.
Windows,
Windows, all right.
Mac OS,
Mac OS,
and
Kali Linux. Do you know why you're not making me happy? Why I'm not happy? I'm still holding trying to get it. Do you know the reason why? Yeah, man. Thank you. You get it. Could you pass it down? I will also, who mentioned the operating system definition? I would definitely want to do that as well. I'm sorry, I disappointed you in the beginning that I said there's no cap, but then he gets the cap, that doesn't go there. So, you know what? When Dr. Principal opened the conversation with you, there was an interesting thing which he mentioned. That guy in the green shirt, which is talking to the other person, that person is actually looking at me because he found that I'm noticing him. So he's like sitting straight as if he's listening. And the other guy is not noticing that and talking to him. These are all the fun moments that you can have in your classroom. And I really appreciate that, right? So that's absolutely fine. Now, Dr. Principal was talking about something. He mentioned that you have to know the concepts, right? So he was making a special mention about how critical the concepts are. And Mr. CEO, Naresh was talking about setting up a 20,000-foot incubation center at the campus. Now, do you know what exactly is required for you to be part of it? And he was checking with us, why is that startup culture not here? But we find a lot of that in Bangalore. Can you think about it? I've heard a few good examples where somebody who was a grade 12 pass out who just joined the college has mentioned in a note to his mentor that I would like to start a startup. So there are people who are having those thoughts in their mind. Now, do you know what exactly is that triggers or fires or sparks the idea of you doing something individual? It's all about identifying a problem. Now, if you have identified a problem, you will definitely need to think of how to solve that problem. Now, if you want to solve a problem, you definitely need to have the underlying concepts very, very clear. For me, operating system has always been three concentric circles. I'm not sure, does that make sense to you when I say that for me, operating system has been three concentric circles? Have you learned it that way? No? Oh yeah, for you, it was not three concentric circles, but three lines. Yeah? The bottom part of it was hardware. You know, we all belong to the same category that way. Yeah, so hardware and then, yeah, go on please. Kernel or you guys are like, I don't have so many cats, but then yeah, try responding, yeah. Software. No. Right about the kernel, you just have to do simply the software. Sorry, what's that? Operating system? Compiler, you're too technical for my presentation. And something else, gentlemen, all ladies here. Hey, did you ever have something called application libraries in that layer? Did you have? Or maybe my teacher taught me a wrong concept when I was in India. Now there are application libraries. I'm not sure if it will spot your picture in the textbook. And on top of the application library, what that we have? The apps themselves, right? The applications themselves. Okay. Broadly speaking, the application library is provided by what? Anybody make a wild guess? However, application library is provided by what? Come on, it's obvious. Operating system. Why are you so silent? Is it because I'm running out of gas or you're not answering? Oh, are kids like this normally in your class? I expect engineering college to be normal. As Ramesh mentioned, you know, they used to jump over. It's no. I'm not saying about that. You guys are already normal, so please give me some time. So the idea is this, right? Now, I'm sure you will have to go through a formal education system, but my point here is that if you want to find a solution to a problem, which you think can be a startup idea, you will have to get the concept right. Now, concepts right can just not be obtained by reading a course book. Now, to you, I think Ramesh has explained in a very layman terms about that dance academy, right? So I also would have some example of that sort, where you read about things, you write it down on a paper, you get evaluated, and then you are certified that you are skilled. Now that's not something which we are looking at least the industry. If I ask you what HTTP is, can somebody answer me? You know, what is FTP? Wow. Everybody have been attended in that class, I suppose. Or I can at least tell you this, that would not be an afternoon class at least. Afternoon class is really boring. Is that right? Teachers are sitting right here. See, I don't give a cap for HTTP. You answer to me that it's a hypertext protocol and FTP is file protocol. That's not what I want. You know what? I have that basic education to expand and abbreviate. And this is not what we expect from you when we ask you what HTTP is. Now, somebody want to give a try what HTTP is? Oh, I see a hand raised there. The green shirt. Yeah, please go ahead. It's a one which is not secure as CDP as well. It's used to it's you know what? If I had something better than I would have definitely given you that. Thank you so much. What's your name? Yeah, I've got only 20 minutes. I'm already 15 minutes now. So just a couple minutes. So this is the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I may not do myself. I may not even proceed. The idea is this, you know, when you're inside a campus like this, you have a lot of time on which you can spend time for reading, right? Now, when somebody asks you what is HTTP, I really do not expect an expansion of hypertext transfer protocol. Now, when we could actually expand a little more from what that gentleman has mentioned. Now, this is what is expected from you. You need to understand the core concepts very clearly. Now, to understand the core concepts very clearly, reading 8 to 10 pages of clear text will not help you. The way you can understand HTTP much better is, what the gentleman has mentioned is that there is a hypertext markup language. The most critical part of that definition which he has given, or that explanation which he has given, is that there is, of course, a server and there are clients. Now, clients will use and understand, clients will understand only a specific type of protocol which is served by the server. Now, for that communication to happen, do you think is there a requirement on the server side? Anybody who wants to extend that conversation? You want to give it a try? On a server, there has to be a server software running. Is that right? On a server, it has to listen to any request which is coming on a specific port. Is that right? There was somebody who mentioned that HTTP, no, I think it's the same gentleman who mentioned that HTTP is not secure, HTTPS is secure. Now, how do you think the server can identify that it's an HTTPS request coming in versus an HTTP request? Anyone? The port number, right? So maybe the conventionally agreed port number for HTTP communication is 80, and for HTTPS is secure. Who said 27? Meet me after the meeting. 443. So, you know, rather than reading about HTTP and HTTPS, there is a better way to learn and understand what HTTP and HTTPS is. Do you know how it is? Somebody said Kali Linux, somebody said Ubuntu here for operating system examples. And what is that you could do? You could install an operating system on one box, set up an Apache web server, open the port number 80 through the firewall, and use a client to connect to this IP address and see if your HTML content is served over the network to the client. Can you give me an example of an HTTP client? HTTP client, name a software which is an HTTP client. A browser, yes. Right. So my point is this. You do things to learn things. You don't read things and learn so much. You do it. Oh, I've read a beautiful writing somewhere in this college when I stepped in. I think it was right in front of the department when I met you at HOD. There was an expansion for FAIL, FAIL. It's the first attempt to improve learning. First attempt in learning. That's right. Yeah. See, nobody can teach you HTTP better rather than you installing an Apache web server, any HTTP web server, not specifically Apache, any HTTP web server, set up a network, connect a cable, plug it into the next system, open a browser, and try reaching there. You will learn a lot of things. You may not get it configured right at the beginning, but that's okay. But you learn a lot of things doing that way. You know what? This makes your learning process much more effective. And just like that gentleman has mentioned, when somebody asks you what HTTP is, from henceforth, please do not expand HTTP and stop right there. Because somebody who is asking you that will actually feel like a moron. Because I ask you HTTP, you say hypertext transfer protocol. I ask you FTP, you say file transfer protocol. Well, I also know that. Are you getting what I mean? Are you able to follow what I'm saying? Yeah. So, you know, the practical approach is really sensible, right? And that's why industry looks for a certification which has got more of a practical and hands-on expertise being covered. Now, I will not take much further. I will just give you a few techniques and technologies and keywords which you might find interesting. You are job ready for the next 6 months, right? Yeah. At least you are labeled job ready for the next 6 months. Whether you are job ready or not is a different thing. But you know, people get absorbed in the industry very easily these days. So it's not much of a problem. But let me also tell you. Have you heard of okay? How many of you want to be developers? Who want to be coders? Who want to use IDE, develop software programs? Very few. Okay. How many of you want to get into the operations side of IT? IT operations. Okay. 1, 2, 3. What is the third group going to do? Get married? Oh yeah, I forgot. Masters. How many of you are attempting masters, postgraduate studies? Oh, but I still have a lot of larger group. Because I see almost 70% of the crowd has not raised their hand at all. Okay, now if you want to be developers, or if you want to be on the IT operations side, right? Oh yeah, do you have to suggest me something? Is there an alternative other than a developer, an IT operations guy? What is the job which you're looking for? You're not looking for a job in IT, by the way. Is that right? No.
They want to become entrepreneurs.
Oh, yeah. So you know, Mr. Naresh was talking about the startup culture and all that. I think you guys want to start your own business. Is it? Somebody said, yeah. Was that a yawn or that was actually a yeah? See, the thing is this. If you're doing a startup, you are a coder, you are an IT operations guy, you are a businessman, you are a sweeper, you are a clerk, you are an accountant, everything. Yeah, be ready for that. And not all startups are successful. So be prepared to fail so that you can start from there and then start up again, right? Always keep that in mind. And the FAIL expansion, keep that in mind all the time. If you are planning, if you have some idea cooking up in your brain and you want to actually have a startup idea, keep that thought in your mind. Now, coming back to what I was about to talk to. In IT industry, you know, you could probably get into two different profiles. Now, you may say that we have testers, we have the quality testers, we have the other testers, they all belong to either one or the other category, right? Mainly it is about the IT operator who run the data center, who manages the data center architecture, who installs the operating system and keep it ready for the developers to deploy their applications. And it spreads to cloud, it spreads to private cloud, public cloud, and all that stuff. And there is another category of people who are mostly into coding. Now today, the line of separation between a developer job and an IT operations job is very, very minimal. There is a very thin line. Have you heard of the concept of DevOps? Okay, smart kids. You guys have heard of all these things a lot, huh? Somebody wants to try to give an explanation about what DevOps is all about? Anyone? Now, I think I'll look at the ladies side. Anyone who wants to raise your hand and say that I want to define what DevOps is. No one. Next time, I will carry some Red Hat branded fighting shoes, and you might be interested. Somebody said yes, but who wants to give it a try? You don't have to stand up. You can sit there and then give it a try. You missed the chance. Let me go this side. Oh, there are some ladies sitting here as well. You guys want to give it a try? Oh, please.
When development and operations work together.
No, really.
Oh, that's, you know what, the word is dev. And so it is like expanding it, saying that we're devs and ops. Of course, yes. Can you elaborate into the notes? Something beyond? No? Here we go. I don't know if you wear a cap or not, but then. So the idea is this, ladies and gents. When you end up inside a job, even if you're doing the startup, and if it is a software services or software development related stuff, you definitely will have to develop a product, and you need to have a developer. But do you know that the product which is ultimately developed by the development team, it is accessed by the end customers. Ultimately, you need to have end customers. Now, when that software is ready to be accessed by the user, by your end customers, that's called the production, right? So you are working on a software, you have a pipeline, you are building on the components, you are testing it, testing not just for the bugs alone, testing it for the security, testing it for the stability, and finally, when it is ready to be used by the customer, it goes to production. Now, the team which is responsible for putting your software into production is the IT operations folks. Now, IT operations are involved in many different activities, but one of the tasks of IT operations is to push to production. Now, today, if you look at, conventionally we have all been working in silos. The developers never used to talk to operations folks, but today, they both work hand in hand. They work in tandem. They work in collaboration. So the concept of developing a software and make it ready to be consumed by the market, where there is no distinction between developers and operations folks, is the idea of DevOps. You may find an opening for your profile in the industry saying that I need a DevOps engineer. Okay, don't shy away from understanding what exactly that is. You may actually fit into any of the categories because you have skills with you. You may be a Java programmer, you may be a cloud administrator expert, you may be a virtualization management expert. Have you heard of cloud, by the way? Okay, somebody wants to give it a try, what cloud is? Don't tell me that on-demand pay-as-you-go hardware resources. I've heard of that a lot. Something else? Or don't even try the water bodies get heated and then the water forms into vapor and rises in the atmosphere, pulls it down, condenses and forms cloud. I know that part as well. Anything else? Yeah, somebody raised a hand there. Can you take the mic there? The man in blue? I'm keeping my cat back. Online storage is one of the aspects. Go ahead. Try.
Accessing the internet.
Oh yeah, so it has to be online, it's accessed via internet. So you're more talking about the public cloud, okay? Yeah, I take that point. Access online, and then you talked about storage. What else? Anybody wants to support him? Yeah, somebody wants to support me.
Letting the servers in the data center for it's a cloud. Letting the servers in the data center.
So you know what? This is the difference of technology people and business people. Now he forms a better businessman. You know the reason why? Because he is thinking like Jeff Bezos. You know who Jeff is?
Yes.
You don't have to blush. You're not that smart, but they should know that. So, so the idea is, the way he looks at cloud is, he has procured the hardware server, set up in a data center, and he's trying to lend that computing resources which he has procured using his money online to anybody who doesn't want to buy hardware but gets computing resources. That's the business case. There is another gentleman who is raising his hand. So I think all these three combined will give us the actual definition of cloud.
So, cloud technology basically a type of concept where we lend again resources, for services like some and other such services as
Thank you so much. Three of you gentlemen sit. I see a technical person here. I see a businessman here. I see a project manager there. He talks a lot about this stuff. Right? So the idea is the same, right? This is what exactly cloud is. When you want to have your computing resources, which is readily available to the customer, which is flexible in nature, which can be scaled up and scaled down, depending on your computing requirements. You go to companies like Amazon or Microsoft Azure or GCP or IBM Cloud or Alibaba Cloud, and then you buy some computing resources from there. The number of hours you use those computing resources, you pay for it, and you run your services there, which is publicly exposed. Now your application runs there, and your customers could actually use it. How many of you use Uber, the cab booking service from Uber? How many of you use Myntra, Flipkart, Amazon for shopping? How many of you use Netflix or Amazon Prime to watch videos and watch series? See, do you know what you're using? You use a client-side application which is installed on your mobile phone or installed in your Amazon Fire Stick, right? Using that client-side application, you use internet, and through internet, where are you reaching? You're reaching a content distribution system which is made by Netflix or Amazon. It's actually running on the cloud. And if you think that there is a world premiere of a movie happening, Amazon will scale up its resources so that they know that there will be at least 20 people from this room itself accessing the same movie at the same time. But after 10 or 15 days of running that movie, they know that the traffic comes down and they can definitely bring the resources down because the traffic is less. Now, you know what? You guys are very experts in using this software. But do you know why are you spending 4 years inside this college? You are not spending 4 years inside this campus not to use Amazon or not to use Netflix. Instead, you should be the people who think about what goes behind the scenes for running a service like Netflix. Try to architect those kind of services. Try to understand what are the technology pieces which are going behind. Try to understand how do you set something similar like that. Are you getting my point? Using a computer is never a skill, ladies and gentlemen. I know when I go through resumes of yours, I find Ubuntu, Kali, Microsoft, Linux, this and that and all that. Maybe you put the list of operating systems there because you know how to use those operating systems. That's not the idea. A medical, a lawyer, a commerce guy, a businessman today of your age, all of them know how to use those operating systems or use those applications. I'm sure there are smart users of social media applications than the IT professionals like you are. So anybody who is using an application cannot be labeled as skilled in that application. No. Instead, you should think of how do you develop an application which is so user friendly that a farmer can also use it, a businessman can also use it, a non-tech guy can also use it. The interface designing, the speed in which your applications click of a button on your app, how fast it can transform to the next phase of that operation. You have to think in those terms. Because you are built, you are trained, you are engineered for that. Never try to be on this side of how to use it. Be on the other side, how to provide the service. Think like that gentleman has thought. You know, Amazon has come up with a very strange idea of, when, do you know what is the underlying technology for cloud? Anybody who wants to give a try, what is the underlying technology for cloud? Sorry? Virtualization. Did you get a gap already? No, you will get this. I took 35 minutes of your time. I'm winding up very soon. See, virtualization is the underlying technology. See, virtualization has been there for a long time. Have you ever thought that virtualization can be taken to the next level? And if you have money, you could actually invest money and buy hardware and then let it out to people. That was a business idea. It worked. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wind up at the 35th minute of my speaking. What we expect from you, what industry expects from you is you need to understand the concepts well. You need to know beyond the book. The best way to know that is to try doing it. Today, you have access to a lot of information. Remember, when I was doing my engineering, if I wanted to actually load a web page, I had to sit and watch this browser like this for minutes and minutes together, and then that stupid sounding modem. I'm not sure, you don't even belong to that generation. In one of the songs, which is composed by A.R. Rahman, I don't know if it is Cartoon or Cartoon Racing, you hear a very strange sound of sound. I'm not even sure you can recognize what that sound is. That's actually the sound of the modem. I belong to that generation. For a page to load, it took minutes and minutes and minutes. And then it never used to load again. And come back the next day for accessing that page. And today you have information at your fingertips. When somebody talks about DevOps, when somebody talks about public cloud, when somebody talks about public versus private versus hybrid cloud, you have that information right at the tip of your fingers. I would always recommend engineering college students do this. Spend at least 20 minutes in a day reading about stuff. Whenever your teachers actually speak about one keyword, passingly, man may say in the class that there is something called containers, containerization. Or today you heard about public cloud, you heard about virtualization, you heard about application program interface, you heard about DevOps, you hear about AI, you hear about ML. Not everybody can be experts in all these fields, but you can definitely try, give it some time. You don't have to give hours. Just 10 minutes or 20 minutes of reading. That's all you need. You gain a lot of knowledge because information is right there. With that, I would like to wish you all the best. Be industry ready. Try to gain some knowledge. Gain that knowledge and acquire that skill in the best possible way. I know that you cannot be skilled in all different technologies, all different domains. But whatever you want to be good at, try to be the best at it. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable video. Now we have the International Certificate Distribution. Those who completed Red Hat Certified System Administrator by Mr. Ramesh Padmanabhan, Mr. Aman Matai, the dual process.
Please call us up.
Damodaran S.
Non-bank transactions. Very good job done, Madhu.
Ishwar Adarsh Reddy. Krishna Hamsike. Nitish Raja K. Rupesh Kanai. Shreya Sam. Sairam K. Yogeshwaran. Bad advantage. Hand over the check for consultancy project to other. He cannot. And the top 10 okay, we are ready. Don't take friends like the friend will not be the either. Okay.
So, automatically
Praise Ram.
I count 10. Then we start the session. 1, 2, 3, 4.